For the second consecutive day, Marvin Harrison Jr. was seen practicing at Cardinals headquarters. Bo, ahead of Monday Night Football, what's MHJ's status?
Oh, man, it's looking good for the 4th overall pick, but what's it going to take for the Cardinals to beat the Chargers on Monday Night Football? Full game preview mode right now, PHNX Cardinals.
Hey, welcome in live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Use a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Game preview show here on a Football Friday, presented by our fine sponsors, our friends, our partners at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why it's never ordinary, even for a moment, with our friends at Bet365. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack in Studio K. Damon Dawg, producer extraordinaire, behind the mic. Hoping to get Craig Morgan, PHNX Cardinals beat reporter, later in the show. You know how we do on a Friday, a Football Friday. Game predictions. Can the Arizona Cardinals, Bo, win the primetime debut, albeit through 24 games, for head coach Jonathan Gannon?
Well, you hope that they're going to put their best effort forward, right? As we've seen 2 of the last 3 weeks, that hasn't been the case. They had an unbelievable comeback win over the 49ers, but that was sandwiched in between some big old stinkers. And you hope that they come out and represent the new look Cards well on the app, right? On semi-prime time. Let's not
on public access.
Yeah. On Tubi, on Roku, whatever it may be. Whatever app it might be on, ESPN Plus, actually. You've got Chris Fowler, kind of the voice of college football these days. Dan Orlovsky, the man who stepped out of bounds in the NFL game, who's now one of the top analysts. Slumming it on Locked On Cardinals with Alex Clancy. And who else they got on that?
How much blackmail is going on Locked On Cardinals with Alex Clancy? We love Alex. Somebody, I can't own this. But somebody's Cardinals game is actually being aired on one of those big Arby's menu video screens that you go into an Arby's. That's where you can watch the Cardinals game on Monday Night Football. So check that out if you haven't seen that already. No free ads on this show.
Never. Get yourself take a beef and cheddar, and hopefully the Cardinals performing the red zone here on this drive.
Anytime touchdown for Marv here. Yeah, curly fries. Yes, please. Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports. Tons of content, tons of stuff to dive into. Injury report's a little bit of a mixed bag, Bo, because the Cardinals and JG, they talk tomorrow. Like, this week's a little bit out of whack. We're not used to primetime games here in the desert. Typically, JG would have met with you and the rest of the media today, and we would get our final injury report. But are you able to kind of dig through the tea leaves here of the injury report as to where some individuals are trending toward playing and maybe not playing? What can you tell us?
Well, I mean, the biggest news of the day with the Cardinals injury report is what we saw on full display just during the open portion. It looks like Marvin Harrison Jr. was full go. He was without the yellow non-contact jersey, and he was a full participant on Friday. So he is trending towards playing on Monday Night Football, which should be music to Cardinals' ears. You see Kelvin Beachum, who, as we mentioned yesterday, the first practice of the week, he seems to be getting the veteran nod to not practice. So he was a DNP yesterday. He was limited today with the hamstring, continues to try to get healthier and healthier as they're starting right tackle in the interim as they wait for the Jonah Williams to return. No Darius Robinson for the 4th straight practice. I don't anticipate him returning in time to play Monday night. So they'll be out their second first-round pick once again. Roy Lopez limited, Kazir limited, Garrett Williams limited, Michael Wilson all limited. But I expect each and every one of those guys to go. Also, Smurf, Sean Murphy Bunting as well, who's limited with the neck, the injury he suffered in the Packers game. And then you look at the bottom one, like Isaiah Adams. I'm sure he'll be off the injury report here shortly. He was a full participant with the thumb. I thought he looked good in his few chances to play the guard spot for the Cardinals in the Packers game. And, it seems like they're getting healthier and healthier. Now it's just a matter of, hey, get out there, put up forth a good effort and execute and try to get a dub in front of your home fans.
This is where like JG's comments tomorrow will be imperative as it relates to somebody like Darius Robinson, because I think we both thought maybe at the start of this week that more practice time, he was going to be okay. And then, of course, her very tragic passing of his mother, like, has that been impacting his status of practice? And if it has, of course, 100% understood. And so JG shedding light on that, and hopefully Darius can come back at some point and provide a spark. But of course, that kind of personal loss takes priority. But I look at that injury report and it's like, yeah, the defense is what it is. The offense is basically going to be at full strength, like minus the guys that you've lost to IR, like Will Hernandez and Jonah Williams. Williams could be back before the bye. Like everybody else is playing. Marv's probably going to play, which is great. I did not expect that. You would have asked me 3-4 days ago. I would not think that's a reality. And it's, again, nothing's official till it's official, but it's trending in the direction of he's going to play. He's been taking all of his first team reps this week. Then Evan Brown's fine. He left last weekend's game. I thought the right guards played well. Kevin Beacham's practicing. I think about all that, and I'm like, this is it for Drew Petzing. Like, it's not it. He's not going to get fired if the Cardinals get shut out on Monday Night Football. But we all know the limitations of this team right now, and it's on the side. This is the most important offensive outing in recent memory for this team. You're at home. The narratives can continue to be written or rewritten, not only for Kyler Murray, but for Jonathan Gannon, people who still question the Arizona Cardinals head coach based off how his tenure ended in Philadelphia. Like, the Cardinals need to come out and put together a refined 4-quarter performance of offensive football to get people excited about where this team is headed. Because I do think, like, you only get so many of these opportunities so often, especially if you're the Cardinals, reintroducing yourself to the national audience, which I don't think is a small feat. Like, we joke about it. Like, people are going to watch this game. It's going to be on, especially if the other game kind of tanks it. Like, people want to watch Kyler Murray versus Justin Herbert. And if you're Drew Petzing right now, you've got an opportunity, because, Bo, you're telling me off air, like, is this Chargers defense, while like overachieving, a little bit flawed as it relates to some of the point totals they've kind of forged 6 weeks into the season?
Yeah, when you try to deep dive this Chargers team and you start to get kind of blown away by the statistics, and it's like, can you buy into these stats and take them at face value? Like, I really do believe that maybe this offense isn't as bad as advertised, as like statistically. Like, they're 26th as far as points scored in the league. Yeah. And then they're first as far as points allowed. They've allowed 13 points per game. But you had this unbelievable performance offensively last week where, you're only putting up 23 points, but you're dominating the time of possession. It was like 37 minutes they held the time of possession last week against the Denver Broncos. It's unheard of. And then this defense that's been keeping, opposing offenses out of the end zone. Yeah. Like 13 points per game is, like, I don't care what, the analytics say, that's just getting the job done. But, like, if we want to look at the Chargers injury report, like, some of their key defenders are on this. A guy that they signed, Christian Fulton, who was an afterthought in free agency, and rightfully so, coming from Tennessee, and really hasn't been able to play, has been a true shutdown corner since coming to the LA Chargers, which is wild. But he has not practiced all week. He's been DNP Thursday and Friday. Joey Bosa continues to be a DNP with a hip. Like, those are two huge potential voids that they're going to have to fill that, as we've pointed out, they're a rebuilding team. They don't have a lot of depth there. So the guys that have been playing on the first team and excelling on the first team, they're not available. That's a huge hit for this Chargers team.
Yeah, I look at this list right now, and limitations offensively, I think, are going to be exacerbated. Quentin Johnson, like, he was a bust last year. I don't know if he's a great player, but he's been productive for them. And, like, he could take advantage to Cardinals secondary that's going to be asked to cover 5, 6, 7 seconds again, barring pressure brought by Nick Wallace. But, I'm looking at this pass rush for the Los Angeles Chargers. Like, if Bosa doesn't play, and again, he's in and out of the lineup every week. Khalil Mack at 33 years old, he's been fine this year, about 2.5 sacks. That's about it. And what does that speak to? The Cardinals are going to have ample time to throw. They're going to be able to sit back in the pocket with Kyler Murray and they're going to be able to throw darts and be accurate. Like people said that the offense was struggling last week. It wasn't because of the pass protection. Like the pass protection, we just got done talking to Max from PFF. That interview is going to drop over the weekend. Cardinals have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. From a pass protection standpoint, especially. They just cracked top 10 in the NFL. Like, I don't anticipate that changing much. Like, I don't know the Chargers defensive line in and out, but it's been okay. It's been fine. I think a lot of it has been who the Chargers been playing at the opposing quarterback spot, right? Like, not very good. A lot of the Carolinas of the world, right? So I think, again, defense, like I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that the Cardinals are going to stop J.K. Dobbins in this Charger offense. Like I don't expect that. Yeah. I think I'm gonna just hope and pray that they can hang on for dear life, just like we previewed the Niner game, where it's like, how are the Cardinals going to stop Jordan Mason and Brock Purdy? Like that worked out okay. This offense has to set the tone. This offense has to be aggressive. They have to go for it on fourth down and manageable in certain instances. They cannot be punting. And I'm going to tell you right now, Bo, with Matt Prater gone, I don't even feel comfortable with this guy kicking field goals, especially in prime time. This has got to be a game. Like, I don't think you can win this game without a minimum 3 touchdowns from this offense. And that feels like not asking enough. Like, can they find a way to manufacture 3 touchdown drives and multiple turnovers and then a couple key special teams plays? That will probably do it. Maybe not, but probably.
Yeah. I mean, this Chargers team has shown the affinity to like go on spurts where it's like 5-6 straight series where they're gone. Like they're not there. Like they're on and off the field, and that defense is back out there. So it's like when you look at what they like to do and run the football and take the air out of the game, like where the games where they've struggled is like J.K. Dobbins has been bottled up. He's been held under 3 yards per carry, and that's the recipe for success. But can you do that? Like, as you said, like you're holding on for dear life. Like this is a way big throwback. Like, remember the old like Miami Heat, New York Knicks brawls, and Jeff Van Gundy's like literally holding on to Alonzo Mourning's leg. Like he's just like being dragged across the court. Like that's what you're going to, the defensive effort needs to look like, and better than that. And, no D-Rob. So you're going to have some of your guys up front play above, what the expectation is. And, that doesn't inspire any type of hope. I mean, what you would hope, and the problem here is the offensive line and its status is the other LA team. Like what they were able to do as far as slow down Kyron Williams, but I mean, you were doing it against 3rd, 4th string guys. Like you were like the Rams were missing most of their starters, and like even if you put their starters up against what the Chargers are bringing out, and first rounder and Joe Alt, and as you saw in that injury report, Zion Johnson is trending towards playing another first rounder out of BC. And Slater, I mean, it's a collection of first round talent that is absolutely playing at a high level. Like both the offensive lines in this game are strengths. Like I'm glad the Cardinals are finally getting their due, as you mentioned. Like Clayton Allen's unit right now is 13th and 10th respectively in both pass rush and run blocking. It's really been fantastic. But like on that similar spectrum and higher up is the Chargers and what they've been able to do in their first year under Jim Harbaugh.
The Cardinals aren't getting pressure on Justin Herbert off the edge with their edge rushers. It's not happening. Like I know they have to play a full game.
And you want to hear something sick, like really disgusting?
That's what this show is about. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is where
I'm gross
like hit me with it. I want to be honest with each and everyone in the chat.
We're nasty boys.
We are. Like this is how dire things are. Like when I saw that the Tennessee Titans were going to give up Jamal Adams, I'm like, I wonder what could they just like bring him in to get after the quarterback? Like that was the first place my mind went. I'm like, things are in such horrible shape. Like, could you just bring him in and he could just find a
Jamal Adams edge rusher? Oh my God.
I know we made fun of him like for that. Like he was a glorified edge rusher at safety, but
I don't hate it.
I was making a graphic today, and I had Trey McBride as the offensive, defensive, and X factor at one point. And Kyle was like, Trey McBride's going to have a good game. And I said, the sad part is Trey McBride at edge rusher probably would be the best pass
How's that
rusher.
Look? Let's try it out.
I mean, we might have to.
Get creative. Marv probably be like, F it, Drew Petzing. You don't want to throw me the ball. And then he's just lined up in the wide 9D and just blitzing off the edge. Joe Alt and
Rashawn
Rashawn Slater.
Move on Joe Alt.
Yeah. Swim move. Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, respectfully, are going to end the Cardinals' defensive ends this year. Like it is going to be. I wouldn't even. I'm at this point. I would almost play. I don't even know if you can get away with this. Can you play like one defensive lineman, and then can you play 10 back 7 players? Like, give me 3 linebackers, give me 1 defensive lineman, give me 7 DBs. Somebody with a higher football IQ can tell me what that defense is called, because I feel like if you have an edge rusher in this game on this roster, it's a wasted spot, because Joel and Rashawn Slater will erase the Cardinals. Like, if you think they were erased against Washington and against San Francisco, this is what the Chargers do. Now, if Nick Rawls has a morsel of football IQ, and he does, they know this already. Like, if you're like, hey, trying to talk up Zaven and Dennis, and we're gonna get after him this week, I'd be doing this. Cut that out. No. Get all the DBs on the field at once. Try to keep people in the open field. Make them nickel and dime you. It's just not going to be pretty. Because here's what I will say. Like, I think Rawls' defense is going to play well. Let me read you off the quarterbacks that the Chargers have faced this year.
Oh, my God.
They beat Gardner Minshew. They beat what
Who's been
I think
benched?
is, yes, in their opener at home. They beat the worst quarterback in the NFL, Bryce Young, in week 2.
Who's been benched?
Yes. They lost to Justin Fields, who's been benched. They lost to the Chiefs and Mahomes. Now, again, like I can't remember which games Herbert's played. And then they beat the Broncos last week. Or it might have even been 2 weeks ago. I think the Chargers are off a bye. So they beat Bo Nix.
They played last week and they were off, I think, the previous week. Right?
They beat Bo Nix. But listen, like, the Cardinals have had the number 1 hardest schedule in the NFL. That's not our opinion. That's per PFF. Mm-hmm. Listen to the games the Chargers have played, and then the upcoming games that they will play. Raiders, Panthers, Steelers, Chiefs, Broncos, Cardinals, Saints, Browns, Titans, Bengals. Is that like just
that's the 4th place schedule that the Cardinals should have also benefit from?
I hate it here. I saw that today and I just wanted to punch my drywall. That is such cockamamie garbage.
Easy, Johnny.
I hate it.
This is a family program.
Language,
dude.
Garbage.
You know what? Like, Michigan was just grilled last year for how cupcake their schedule was en route to a national championship. This might be worse for Jim Harbaugh. This might be more of a
I want to reread it again. I'm going to reread it again. Raiders, Panthers, a Justin Herbert-led Steeler team, the Chiefs. We're going to put the Chiefs over here.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, Broncos, Cardinals, who were 6-31 in their last whatever, Saints, Browns, Titans, Bengals. Now they do play the Ravens and the Falcons and the Chiefs and the Bucks. But then they end the year. Listen how they end the year.
That poor team.
Patriots, Raiders. I mean, the Chargers are winning double-digit games. But here, with the way this schedule is situated, this is a game where this is a losable game for the Chargers, in my opinion, for the next, for the first time in the next 6 weeks. So Cardinals can nip them here on the road, Monday Night Football. This is a game they can afford to lose, that being the Chargers. It's out of conference. Whereas if you're Monty Osborne and JG, you need to, it's in all the stops, break out all the stops this week. There may not be a big difference in 2-4 and 2-5. There is to us. There is to the casual fan. 2-5, and you're losing to teams that are behind you in the rebuild phase. That's a terrible look. That's a really bad look. And you're on Monday Night Football to boot.
Yeah, well, as Max mentioned in his interview that you guys can find, make sure you subscribe to PHNX Sports, and you got those alerts set up so when it goes live over the weekend, you don't miss it. But Cardinals have have faced the hardest schedule in the NFL, and then it starts to thin out, and it's what do you say, 25th?
Yeah,
and this is part of it. A 3-2 Chargers team that
hasn't
can't score. They haven't beaten anybody. It's the equivalent of Michigan playing East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska to start in Minnesota last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Raiders are 25th, the Panthers are 28th, the Steelers are 18th, the Chiefs are 14th, and the Broncos are 26th as far as scoring points this season. They've faced some of the worst offenses, and the mediocre offenses that they've faced statistically, they lost to. They lost to teams that are in the top 20 in scoring because they couldn't keep up. Now, what's the biggest issue with the Arizona Cardinals that we've identified? I mean, I know that the defense didn't have high expectations, but the area that the team is slumping in the most is the offensive side of the football. So for us to come out here and say, well, all the Cardinals need to do is score points, but that's been the biggest issue. Like, they've scored less than 14 points or less last 3 out of 4 weeks. I mean, it's just not going to get it done. Like, I'd love to say, hey, they reach it's a race to 21 points, and if they get there, they're going to notch the third win of the season, but it's just not that easy.
This offense, it's a make or break game for them. Like, Kyler Murray may not get another nationally televised game. And somebody said this to me earlier today, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. Is this Kyler Murray's last nationally televised game as a member of the Arizona Cardinals if they lose?
No, that's a little dramatic for my taste.
Okay. If they lose and they fall to 2-5, and this season continues to spiral out of control and they don't win enough games, I mean, I don't think Kyler's not going to be on the team next year, but I think you start to seep in some of those doubts. You start to seep in the notion of, could they take another quarterback eventually? I just thought that was an interesting. Cardinals don't get a lot of nationally televised games. If they're on track for another losing season, they wouldn't get a ton next year. So yeah. I do think most of the national audience has not been reintroduced to Kyler with Jonathan Gannon yet. And you get one opportunity to kind of do that, right?
Well, yeah. You want the best it could possibly look for that audience, right? I mean, even when it didn't look great against San Francisco for the bulk of the game, like, there was the moments where you had Tom Brady oohing and on, right? And making plays to where he's talking to the GOAT after the game about getting a win. Like, if you can replicate that, that's absolutely would just continue to help change the narrative. It would help, keep this season relevant for the Arizona Cardinals and not make, an unceremonious early, move into draft season like it has done the last couple of years. It's just, you need it. And it's a winnable game. It absolutely is. It's like, you could say that for both teams because they're flawed rosters. It's just, you need to come out with the superior game plan, and your players that you have viewed as the strength of this roster have to play like it. It's just, I don't care that the Chargers have only given up 13 points per game. Like, you need to come out and you need to be above the average by a full touchdown to give yourself a chance to win.
The line continues to drop. We're going to talk about that right around the corner. We're also going to get to your super chats here on PHNX Cardinals. But before we do that, I want to tell you about our friends at Circle K. It's America's thirst stop. Join the Inner Circle, the free new membership program. And again, temperatures finally cooling off here. I know a lot of people are taking time off this weekend, maybe do some scenic drives in the greater Phoenix area. Wherever you're at in the country, you're enjoying the outdoors. Be smart, be safe, load up, fill up with 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups with our friends at Circle K and the Inner Circle free new membership program. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Plus, they've got plenty of other member-exclusive deals and discounts on things like snacks. And, of course, one of our favorites in the Venerable household, Polar Pops or Frosters, any size, just 79 cents. They had that over the course of the summer. People loved it, so they've extended it indefinitely. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
Absolutely elite. Can't wait. I got my my gas light on. I got to go fill up. It's going to be at Circle K. It's going to be for 5 cents off because I am a member of the free membership program, the Inner Circle. Check this out. It's part of the campus collection. Sunday right there. Look at that. That's a nice little camo looking lid right there. Are you ready for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? Big 12 matchup between Cincinnati and the Sun Devils. How about this? This is more Damon speed. The U of A down there. Isn't that nice?
One. It's a big one tomorrow, boys.
That's right. Oh, are they playing a team that's relevant in the college football landscape? Oh, yeah. Colorado, big sellout down there in the Pueblo.
I talked a lot of crap.
You did.
I don't think it's going to go well, Dave. Just a heads up.
Look, it's just like the Cardinals. They need to get right, and they need to do it right now, as early as tomorrow. But look, celebrate whatever your alma is or whatever team you rep, campus collection at Branded Bills. Branded Bills is going to help you elevate your brand, whether it's your softball league or your company or your kids' little league team. Check them out. Local company in Mesa. Go to brandedbills.com right now. Use the code PHNX for 20% off your first order. That's brandedbills.com. Use the code PHNX for 20% off your first order.
Which one of you two frauds on Hold or Fold the Line this week had the Broncos last night on Hold or Fold the Line? Was that Damon Dawg?
No, Bo actually had the Broncos last week
against
the Chargers.
And they got shut out in the first half last week. Did the Broncos, they weren't dogs in that game?
They were favored, yeah. Now that I think about it. Vance Joseph, man. He's doing a nice job.
Pretty good against Spencer Rattler.
When do we get some of that?
That was a joke. That was a Benny Hill bit. Like the ball was fumbling around everywhere.
What? The Saints, remember the Saints were the best team in the NFL at 2-0, and they beat like the Cowboys and another team by like 100. They beat the Panthers and the Cowboys by
Dennis Allen. He might be fired like next week.
I had a take before the season. I thought they were going to be the worst team in the NFL, so that doesn't look too bad.
No.
My takes though normally.
Remember Tennessee? Remember when one show was down on the Titans and everybody's like, I think they could be good.
No. The Saints, everybody was like, the Saints had a top 10 offense and defense last year. Watch out for those guys. And you're like, what? They played the easiest schedule in the NFL last year.
They did. They played the NFC South.
They literally need to blow it up. It's like I've never seen a team in need of being blown up more.
Like one of the viral clips from that game, outside of Rattler just fumbling the ball across the entire length of this field, is Alvin Kamara going up to his old coach and he's saying, allegedly, "Come get me,
save me."
Yeah,
that'd be dirty. Let's get to some of these super chats because I know they're going to be gross from our guy Charlie Sinclair, resident Charger fan. $1.99 to kick us off. Not to worry, known MHJ stopper Cam Hart is playing. Famous last words, Bo. Cam Hart going to shut down Marvin Harrison Jr. The only person that can shut down Marvin Harrison Jr. is not a corner. It's an OC, and he resides in Arizona. His name is Drew Petzing.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie, at least update your smack. There ain't no Cam Hart isn't the one that's slowing down MHJ.
A fifth round corner? No thanks, bro.
Yeah. I mean, somebody was in my mentions when I was I tweeted out Marv was practicing yesterday. He's like, you know what? I wanted him to play. This is from the Chargers fan on the Bird. And he was like, but I feel confident that Harbaugh and whoever else was in Michigan with him, they've seen him enough. They know what to expect from Marv. And I'm like, oh, yeah, do they know what to expect in the form of 118, 120-yard performances and a touchdown in each game against Big Blue?
You can make a case. Marvin Harrison Jr. almost beat Michigan by himself in the Big Ten title game last year. Like, he had a horrific quarterback play in that game, and Marvin had 2 second-half touchdowns to try to will them back into that game. Just such a gross performance by who's Ohio State's QB last year?
Kyle McCord.
Dirt McGurk.
I think he's doing pretty good this year, actually, at Syracuse.
For the Qs.
Good for him.
That's Marvin Boy, by the way. They went to high school together. Like he remember the Giants tried to have him skewer him a little bit. He was like, yeah. That's how we knew he was our humble king.
But Kyle, you know what? He didn't have the dog in him that day. A dog would have ripped his QB, no doubt. Charlie Sinclair, 190. What's that?
For Kyle McCord this year.
How many?
19 touchdowns, 6 picks for Kyle McCord in 6 games this year.
You know what would be great? If everybody for the Giants got fired and then whomever took over, the Giants then drafted Kyle McCord. And then it was just the circle of life is now complete. Charlie's
he's on the Bo Nix trajectory. He is like where he just completely bottoms out at a huge school and then goes and dominates lesser opponents. And it's like, oh, this guy's good now.
Media seems to be buying all the lad stock this week. I mean, Cardinals don't give up like huge games to receivers. I would say it's like buying stock.
Ayuk really went off, right?
Yeah. I would buy stock in like Apple and that kind of thing. That's J.K. Dobbins this week. Like whatever is the most common stock to trade on Wall Street, equate that to J.K. Dobbins and this Cardinal run defense.
Yep. If they can't slow down J.K. and try to even out the time of possession here with the Chargers everything that we talk about today is a moot point. It's not gonna work. If they do what they want to do in the run game, it's just Chargers are gonna do what they want to do.
Sly, $2. Chargers win because of one reason, Harbaugh. Well, he is a winner. And there were people in this media market, never forget, one person in particular that made a big stink about the Cardinals during their hiring process, even considering Jim Harbaugh, saying, I don't want Jim Harbaugh here. He's not a winner, blah, blah, blah. We don't need Jim Harbaugh. Those were things that were said here by the local media, not this program.
Right.
And Jim Harbaugh is the definition of a winner. Like, you may not love him personally, his tactics, whatever. He won a national championship. He won at San Diego University. He won at Stanford for the first time in forever. He almost won a Super Bowl. I mean, all he does is win. He's one of the greatest football coaches the last 50 years in this country. Just embarrassing takes. Embarrassing. Yeah. Chargers literally had to back up the Brinks truck, and the Spanos never pay anybody. And they're like, we gotta do this. We gotta do it.
Right. Yeah. It made too much damn sense, especially from where they were coming. Yeah. What they had just invested in as far as a quarterback. Was it 3 out of the 4 years he was in the NFC Championship game with the 49ers, right?
He never had a losing record. And basically he dogged on Jed York, and things kind of fell apart from there. But
and he's so quirky. He has the resume. He's JG with the resume. Right. Like he's a guy who's like enthusiasm. You love to see it. He loves football. Like he had the incident on the sideline last week where, I think he had like a medical episode, and he's like, yeah, doctors checked me out. And he's like, I got the heart of an athlete or something like that. And it's just little one-liners like that. And then just like JG, you try to get any kind of info, and if he views it like as it would compromise anything that he's trying to do, and he's going to play it tight to the chest. So, he's all about being a football coach and putting his team in the best position to win.
He's got a lot of similarities with Pete Carroll, where we're supposed to hate him, but he's so likable, and they're just really good for the NFL. Richard, 199. Doesn't Darius Robinson have to be activated soon? Yeah, Bo, walk us through this timeline. D-Rob got activated, what was that, 2 weeks ago? And it looks like for 2 weeks he's not going to play, and he's had one practice under his belt.
Right. Well, no, he was actually officially activated on the 9th, right? So that was last week. I'm sorry. Yes, the 9th. And now, so he officially has to be activated. He can miss this week, and I think he can miss the next week, and then that's it. So he's got some time. It's a 21-day window. So if you look at it, it'd be 16 is 7, 23 is 14. So he has to be activated right before Halloween.
Do you think there's any chance he plays Monday?
I don't think so. He hasn't practiced all week. Yeah. I mean, it was strange. The strange thing is that I'll tweet out updates about Darius Robinson, and people are like, well, no kidding. He suffered a tragedy in his family. But Gannon said was it Thursday, yesterday, there's a chance he could practice, and we haven't seen him. So it seemed like he was close. So if he's out there, then I think, that's a good sign. But so far, there's just no reason to believe that he's going to be available to the Cardinals this week.
I had heard earlier this week, kind of off the record, that it was trending like he was going to play. Like they were optimistic he had an opportunity to play. And I got to believe that the loss of his mother, is.
Look, if he's being a grieving son, then absolutely, that's and the team would absolutely be on board and supporting that. So,
and that's
none of our business, and that's none of our business. It's just
that's right.
What was said and what was conveyed in the press conference was he was close. So I just if he's out there, based on knowing the information that I received from you, it's like, okay, then maybe there is a chance. But now I think it'd be a miracle.
Load him up for Miami. Not a great offensive line. Try to take advantage, and Cardinals need to get it done without him. That's the reality of the situation. We've been saying it for weeks. Can't expect a kid, albeit a first-round kid, to come save your defense that you didn't prepare this offseason enough for. I mean, to me, back on the Chargers and this season in general, I do feel like the Chargers have expectations where very similar to the Broncos, where it's like maybe people didn't expect a ton out of you. Go out there. We feel good about your quarterback. Sean Payton handpicked Bo Nix. He's not going anywhere. Chargers with Herbert lockstep. I think the Cardinals are in a very different spot than a lot of these teams. You can tell me how you feel, but the Cardinals doubled down on Kyler Murray this offseason. And while Kyler is not playing a part in them losing games, he's not winning them games single-handedly, right? So the Cardinals are going to have to decide or continue to evaluate, do we need a quarterback like that? Can we build up this roster? Because I think the roster construction, to me, has been flawed to a point where, unfortunately or fortunately, and I tweeted this out earlier this week, the only way you win this game, save for a complete collapse and Herbert gets hurt for the Chargers, and you don't want to see that if you're anybody, is if Kyler Murray is undeniable in this game. We need an undeniable performance. We need a Rams, Niners plus kind of game where he's out there cooking, gets off to a great start. He's able to string that together for 4 quarters. He and Marv and Drew Petzing are on the same page. Trey McBride is getting involved. Because if the Cardinals lose this game, but let's say they lose it 24-17, right?
Yeah.
Kyler's got about 100 QBR quarterback rating, didn't turn the ball over, threw a touchdown. I think we're all just going to sit back and be like, is this the best it's going to be with this regime and this quarterback? I hope not, but the tools are there. Defensively, I can't evaluate Nick Rallis respectfully, fully. I can evaluate Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray together and the collection of talent that they have. And right now, the early returns there's some disconnect here. And I would argue if it's going to get better at this point, this is their opportunity. This is their way to get better, in my opinion.
It is. Yeah. This is a chance to get right against a strong unit in the Chargers. And I'll say this again. I think the Chargers defense is really good.
Yeah.
But is it as good as advertised, as the stats say? And also, is the offense that bad? Are they with Justin Herbert? Can you really be that bad of an offense? And I think the same thing probably goes for Herbert as it goes for Kyler Murray, that the fans are going to continue, start to clamor a little bit. He's got the benefit of being 3-2 and being in a brand new offense where Kyler's now in his second season kind of in this offense, to where he doesn't have that luxury of a little experience. You're going to have to, when they do call your number and you do need to elevate things, and it needs to be into a different gear beyond just a solid game plan and a sound infrastructure, that you need to go out there and be the hero, put the team on your back, for lack of a better cliche. Kyler Murray this is one of those moments. You gotta be able to elevate your team right now, because otherwise, what it's saying now is when you look at just in the 2024 resume, you've got touchdown in Buffalo, 3 against the Rams, touchdown in week 3 against who was it? Against Detroit. You got a touchdown against the Commanders. You got a touchdown each and every week. It's just those are just pretty pedestrian numbers, and that's
right.
Pretty pedestrian performance with one outlier. It's you need those outlier games to become more and more consistent. Those need to be sprinkled in, not every 3 games. I think 2 out of 3 games. That's the expectation, I think, for a franchise quarterback.
Well, Kyler Murray, I would argue, if he's the quarterback of a team that's built maybe a little bit different, if he's the quarterback of the Steelers, if he's the quarterback of San Francisco, a good chance, I think, in my opinion, those teams are undefeated or close to it, right? It's been probably my biggest argument since this regime took over. Is this franchise and what they hope to do, this regime in particular, is their timing right with Kyler Murray's timing? Because again, Kyler Murray is paid right now on average about the 8th to 12th highest paid quarterback in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's typically what you're getting from him. He's not turning the football over. He's top 5 to 7 in QBR. You're getting what you pay for, in my opinion. Do you want to see more touchdown drives? Obviously. And that's not just K1. But are you wasting his peak years on a team that is not ready to win with the rest of the roster? Is Kyler Murray good enough, a la Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, to carry a bad roster? I don't think he is right now. So they're in this weird kind of transition period where I think the line of the season is having your cake and eat it too. We're not rebuilding, but yes, we are. And you should be able to watch us and have high expectations, but we're getting blown out and we have these outlier performances against the NFC West. And isn't this great? And you don't want to be in a position, I guess, where you fast forward 18 to 24 months and the Cardinals either would have been better off going all in with Kyler Murray and the rest of the roster, or they would have been better off pivoting off of Kyler Murray and getting a young quarterback and building this thing a little bit more organically.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's they're in this tight spot and they still have time to figure it out. But and we were talking to some people off air today. You cannot tell me if this team drops the next couple games, let's say they go into the bye, 3-7, right?
Yeah.
And you're sitting around, it's trade deadlines right around the corner or before this. And you got high-priced veterans and you're talking about, think about how big of an indictment it is to what they're doing. If you're talking about selling players when your quarterback is making $50 million and he's playing top 5 to 7 QBR quarterback in the NFL, what does that say about the job you're doing with your roster construction? I'm not sure I've ever seen that happen. Like it's a lot of maybe what the Chargers were dealing with Brandon Staley last year. It's like, hey, people like this quarterback. He's playing well, and at times Herbert was playing really well, but they can't win games, right?
Right.
So it's like, do you need a new regime? Do you need a new quarterback? Do you need to start over? I just think it's going to be such a disheartening conversation if we have to come on here in 2.5 weeks and this team's losing. But then here's Kyler Murray and the numbers say he's playing well. Like, what am I supposed to do with that if I'm a fan?
Right. And it's not translating. It's not producing wins. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like you hear him in his comments this week, and he's joining Kevin Clark on Omaha Productions, and he's saying like, I'm feeling the best I've ever felt, and rattles off some statistics, and I'm there with him. Like Kyler Murray's been good. Like his stats prove so. Like you see the play, but it's not translating, and there has to be something that he's got to be able to do to prove like. Otherwise, it's like he's going to be in the tier of good quarterbacks, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But is that going to be able to elevate you when it's necessary? And then that starts to weed out like a lot of the quarterbacks out there. And like now people get blown away by the sticker price on the price of paying quarterbacks. But it's like, okay, if you're 8 to 12, you'll sign yourself up for that. But at some point, you have to give yourself a chance to get somebody with a little bit higher ceiling, somebody that's going to be able and take that risk on a new blood that somebody could come in and jumpstart this. That's otherwise been stagnant scoring wise the last 3 of the 4 weeks. They need to get something going, and I have confidence that Kyler Murray can do it. Like we saw it in the last season, especially as the schedule starts to thin out after a gauntlet start. But he's gonna have to prove it, I think, and that's what Monday's all about.
We're all about family here on PHNX Cardinals, part of our PHNX Cardinals family. Right around the corner, PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals beat reporter Craig Morgan joins us to talk Monday Night Football, as well as game predictions. That's coming right up here on PHNX Cardinals. But first, again, big thanks to everybody who's come out to our watch parties this year at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. And again, we're off a couple weeks. No road games, save for Miami. We're going to be in Miami. But even if you're not coming to a watch party, come out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. One of their 4 locations, of course, I'm biased, my favorite, Wild Horse Pass, but they've got tons of other stuff, tons of other experiences. The best the Valley has to offer, frankly. Lounge at either the AAA 4 Diamond Resorts, let relaxation take charge with unbeatable desert and mountain views. Go all in. How about this? 4,500 slots and table games in Arizona's largest sportsbook casino. It is elite, chef's kiss. And speaking of chef, try the Prime A. Shula Steakhouse rooftop restaurant. Now, pool season may be coming to a close, but how about getting some elite mountain vibes on top of a rooftop restaurant? Unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement you're going to find anywhere else. And again, watch parties are coming back. Cards hopefully get their act together. We've got Suns regular season tip-off right around the corner. Catch Espo, Gerald, Lindsay, the entire gang watch parties galore. Gila River Resorts and Casinos cannot say enough good things about our partners, our friends there, and they are our friends. Like, I love going out there because the vibes are immaculate, the service, the food, it is fantastic. Visit them, playatgila.com, Bo, for more information.
We love them. We will not be out there the next road game. We're going to be in Miami, entire crew. It's going to be great. But also, we're not going to be out there Monday night, part of our Sanderson Ford Chicken and Pickle tailgate. Remember that. But Sanderson Ford is always there for you. One of the best dealership in the Valley. 65 beautiful acres, making them the largest Ford dealership in the nation. And they've got so many great things going on. Sanderson Ford has their new 2024 F-150 trucks with 3.9 APR financing for 60 months, plus $1,000 cash back when you trade in truck and get an additional $2,000 cash back. Go all electric. Go Mach-E and get 1.9 financing for 72 months, plus $500 cash back. Of course, the offers OAC from Ford Credit and expire on Halloween, October 31st. And get into the season. Help us celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with Dia de los Muertos inspired trunk or treat Sanderson Ford on October 19th. Hey, that's tomorrow. Get out there and hang out. Enjoy their no pressure, no hassle, no haggles, no nonsense sales approach. Just check out the beautiful cars out there and celebrate Dia de los Muertos inspired trunk or treat on October 19th. See you the dealership for details.
He's the busiest man at PHNX Sports on the scene, our PHNX Cardinals beat reporter. Check out his newest article, Outside the Nest. Chargers beat writer offers view from the other side. Week 7, it's Craig Morgan. Craig, how we living, my friend? How you feeling ahead of this weekend? Are you not traveling? You sticking around here?
Yeah, I'll be in town. I will be at the game. Before we get to how I'm feeling about this game, because I want this to be a show about positive vibes. How you guys feeling about fall's arrival? I'm pretty happy about that. It's finally here in Arizona.
Johnny put on his best flannel. He got his pumpkin spice latte, and he was going full basic.
That's happened for weeks. Don't get me wrong. But
Johnny, do you like khakis? Do you like to wear khakis?
A great pair of slacks, khakis, Jim Harbaugh style. It's very appropriate.
Thank you.
Is that where you were going? I love that.
You always understand my cues. It's amazing. I appreciate that. And you love Jim Harbaugh, don't you?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Full transparency. He's a friend of a friend, external friend. If he saw me in public, I would have to come up and tell him who I was, and maybe he'd put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, I respect the hell out of him. I think he's a winner, and I love Jonathan Gannon, but I am disappointed the Cardinals didn't attempt to at least have a meeting with Jim Harbaugh. But he's a lot, right? And some people aren't equipped to have a lot, and he can wear on people, but he does the number one thing you pay him for.
Yep.
On Sundays and Saturdays, he gets the job done.
Yeah, that's fair. And I heard you guys talking earlier about every stop of the way he has had success. You win a national championship when you're not in the SEC in college football, you're accomplishing something. He went to a Super Bowl. He had a lot of success with San Francisco. The only thing that I don't miss about Jim Harbaugh, and I'm glad the NFL actually canceled this because they used to do weekly conference calls with the opposing coach. And we would sit and listen to Jim Harbaugh. And after we got off the call, we'd all look at each other and say, what did he just say? I have no idea what he just said. I think it was couched as intellectualism, but I think it was more like he was in his own head. But there is no arguing with the success that Jim Harbaugh has had, and it looks like he's translating it to the Chargers, at least the style of play. I'm sure you've talked about this, but this is old-fashioned smash-mouth football. They play really stingy defense. They fly to the ball. They keep everything in front of them. They have a powerful running game. The passing game with Justin Herbert has been downplayed a little bit, but they're having some success so far. This is a tough matchup for the Cardinals.
He's certainly a throwback. I think, during the interim, when he wasn't in the NFL, I don't know if his style would have necessarily worked, but him coming back and now there's been a lull in the offensive side was almost like a perfect time for him. Obviously coming off all the scandals as well at Michigan, probably the best time for him to, walk away into the sunset with a championship in tow. But yeah, I don't know if it necessarily played until last season, maybe, or this season for sure. And it's looking at 13 points per game. That's all this defense is surrendering. And Greg, you had texted me off air, and you're like, "Yeah, this looks like a bad matchup in my eyes for the Cardinals."
Yeah, I mean, you watch the way that they, first of all, they give up 13.2 points a game, right? They're just not giving up much. They don't give up much defensively. Like I said, they keep everything in front of them. They're very physical. They have a physical running game. The Cardinals' defensive line, particularly in the middle, is just decimated by injuries. Not that it was lighting the world on fire anyway when everybody was healthy, but there's a lot of areas of the football where I look at this matchup and say, 2-5. Are we looking at 2-5?
I mean, Vegas is telling us that. Bet365 Cardinals have been fluctuating between a 2.5 to 1.5 underdog, depending on where you dabble with our friends at Bet365. But Craig, I'm with you. But here's where I'll push back, and I'm not looking to give anybody excuses this weekend on Monday Night Football. Like the Chargers roster, it's not great. It's fine, right? Like their skill players are below average. They picked up running backs and receivers this offseason. So as the Cardinals were going cheap at the line of scrimmage, the Chargers invested in the line of scrimmage and went cheap at the skill players. And guess who's winning games? Yeah. And again, like I love Marvin, but I mean, let's call a spade here. Like I think the Arizona Cardinals would love a mulligan on their offseason, whereas the Chargers, I would imagine, are very happy with theirs. Now their schedule is a cupcake. We walked through it before you went on, but for me, it's like I don't want to be sitting here on Monday night being like, you know what? Because the Cardinals lost Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, that's why they didn't win this game. It's like, no, you're playing at home. You have a top 10 quarterback right now statistically. Justin Herbert's been beat up, and this Charger team was awful last year. Now they have Jim Harbaugh. I get that, but I keep going back to this, Craig. Same thing against Washington. You have an 18-month head start against these teams on their rebuild. Like I'm fine grading on a curve when you're playing San Francisco and Buffalo and some of these teams, but you've had a head start. Your curriculum started way before theirs. You've had assets, $70+ million, 7 picks in the top 90. I don't think any Cardinal fan is going into this game thinking to themselves, we are undermatched against the Chargers. I just think that they think to themselves, you know what? The Cardinals fumbled an opportunity to really take advantage of teams like the Chargers this year.
I don't feel like that narrative is new this week. I think we've said that other weeks.
Yeah.
When we've looked at other teams. There are plenty of other teams that are, turning this thing around. At least it looks like it right now a little faster than the Cardinals are. I'm not going to say the word, Johnny. I'm not going to say it because I know it sets you off. I won't say it. Although I do have plans for you in the future if they lose this game. I'll just say that.
Are we allowed to say that word 24 games in? 24 games in, and people are gonna throw around the R word. Like I'm gonna just say right now, rebuild 24 games. How about 50 games in? Where do we stop? Where do we put the cap at? Oh, you know what? 3 seasons of rebuilding the NFL. Like Craig, you've endured the grossest of the gross rebuilds in the NHL. That's a rebuild. Slumming it in the NHL every night. I've seen it in baseball. The NFL is different, and it's part of the reason the NFL is king, in my opinion. You can flip a roster on a dime. You push the right buttons. Your stars have changed. 24 games in, and this team is who they are. Losing games every Sunday. And I'm at the point, I don't want to hear excuses. I don't. I know a lot of people are still having a lot of patience, but I don't think fans should have to endure much more losing.
Oh, I agree with that. And maybe it's just because I'm fresh to this beat, and it actually feels like a fresh start after having to endure what you just mentioned. I don't even want to mention the name of that franchise anymore. I'd rather not. But it's season 1 on the Cardinals. So, I just got here, I don't know Monty Austin-Fort. Haven't really had the opportunity to chat with Monty Austin-Fort. That'd be nice. That's another story. It would be nice to actually understand his philosophy, but so far that hasn't happened. But so I'm willing to give them maybe till the end of this season. But yeah, you can't be saying midway through season 3, we're still in rebuild. No, it just doesn't fly in the NFL. You're absolutely right. This league is built for quick turnarounds. We see it all the time. They're close to out of excuses.
Well, you got Kyler Murray on Wednesday saying, hey, it's a long season. I've had fast starts before, and those haven't ended how we want it. And we feel like we're in a good spot. It's like, you got to prove that. And I think this is more conducive than even going on the road and taking on San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco has a way better roster. I think a way more powerful offense. And they were able to get it done. Like, it's not as Herculean of an effort to take care of business at home on Monday night as it was to go on the road in week 5 against San Francisco. That being said, I don't know what to expect from this team. It's been so Jekyll and Hyde, and the inconsistency, I think, people will probably say is their main frustration point with this team. If they were going to get competitive outing after competitive outing, where that hasn't been the case with this team, it's been, hey, show up one week, have a close loss there, and then get your doors blown off, and then try to like pick up the pieces and then have another competitive game, a win. I just think people are looking for consistency, progress from this team. And I don't think through 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you can say that that's been there. Can they get it back on track? I think this is a great opportunity for it. Let's start to get into it as far as our predictions. Who needs to show up if the Cardinals want to find a path to victory Monday night? I'm not going to be a gracious host. I'm going to go first. I'm going to just bring mine up here. Well, Johnny, did you think I was going to go with you? Yeah, I'm going to go chalk this week.
Oh, my God. Look at this.
I'm going with Trey McBride as my offensive star.
You thought that was chalk. Wait till you see mine.
Oh, wait till everybody sees Johnny's, because if you want to say chalk, I mean, it's like outside of his house, the sidewalk that it's been chalked up. I got Trey McBride as my offensive star. When the Chiefs beat the Chargers, it was Travis Kelce who was the one who led the way. So I think if the Cardinals want to go off that blueprint, let's do it. Trey McBride's been the most consistent. He caught each and every one of his targets last week, nearly hit the 100-yard mark for a third time in 2 seasons, a mark that hadn't been hit for nearly 30 years for the Cardinals before that. 40 years, right? It was unbelievable. But Trey McBride is ready. He needs to go. As Baldy said earlier this week, we need somebody to complement Trey McBride. But I think it's his week. On the defensive side of things, you got to have be able to slow down the run game, and you got to look at the defensive line and who's had a decent year. Rolo, give me Roy Lopez as my defensive star to get in there, get his hands dirty, muck it up on the defensive line, slow down J.K. Dobbins, and be the reason for the defense to get off the field. And then my X factor. No more safety net, no nothing. You got Matt Prater on the IR for the next 4 weeks. So I've got Chad Ryland, who's now your starting place kicker in place of Prater, and he's going to have to continue what he's done so far outside of one bad kick that was returned for a kick 6. I need Chad Ryland to be more like the 7 of 8 guy with both of his extra points made for the Cardinals going into Monday night, make all his kicks in a game where points are potentially going to be a premium.
Gross. Any graphic with Chad Ryland, I don't want to acknowledge on a Friday. Come on. I can't take that seriously.
That was stepping out, actually. I admire that, actually, going all the way to Chad Ryland.
Craig, you want to keep this going so I can scrub that graphic from my memory here?
Yeah, put it up. Go ahead.
Let's see it, Damon. Let's see Craig's players of the week.
Bo and I are thinking alike here. The Chargers, as I mentioned earlier, the Chargers defense keeps everything in front of it. It's Jesse Minter's philosophy. It's worked well for LA, holding opponents to 192 passing yards per game in a league low 13.2 points per game, as we said. That said, the Bolts have been a bit susceptible to tight ends. Not only Travis Kelce, who does that to a lot of people, Brock Bowers had 6 catches for nearly 60 yards. LA stuffs the run. So I think that, coupled with their defensive philosophy, is going to necessitate the Cardinals using the tight end. And Trey McBride, as Bill mentioned, had a hell of a game. He's one of the few standouts in Green Bay. So I think he is the guy to watch on offense. On defense, I wish I could say it was Roy Lopez that is going to be stuffing the run, but I think this is going to be a next level type of tackling game where the Chargers are able to get to the next level of the Cardinals defense. So Jalen Thompson is going to have to step up. We're going to see guys who shouldn't be making a lot of tackles have to make a lot of tackles. Hopefully, some touchdown saving tackles. I'm looking for Jalen Thompson to take a big step up. I think the Cardinals need their vets to step up in this defense to accomplish anything the rest of this season. The defense has not performed well overall. They need those guys to step up. And in the X Factor, speaking of guys who can take advantage underneath, remember when we were talking about Greg Dortch and how fired up he was for this opportunity to be a regular part of the offense? He's not been the one-on-one matchup nightmare he was last year. He's only top 40 receiving yards and 4 catches once this season in the season opener. Gonna need you, Greg Dortch. Gonna need you to step up big. So I'm looking at Greg Dortch for my X Factor.
I like it. Yeah. Here's what I'll push back on one notion, that we're waiting on these vets to take over. It's week 7. I'm tired of waiting. And that kind of puts me into my thought process with my graphic here. Because on the surface, Craig, you're right. It should be the stalwarts. Where are they at? Well, it's a youth movement, and
you're really going on a limb on these picks.
This graphic represents the future of this franchise. And if the Arizona Cardinals are going to reintroduce themselves on a primetime stage, out with the old, in with the new, and it's led by Marvin Harrison Jr., I felt like watching Drew Petzing's press conference that we have bullied Drew Petzing into a corner, and now he has no choice. Like, by hook or by crook, Marvin Harrison Jr., assuming he plays, is going to have double-digit targets this week. And I do not buy the Chargers' scrub McGrub defensive backs without a pass rush are going to be able to slow him down. I think this is going to be an undeniable performance for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think, again, like, to me, if you're not feeding Marvin this game, what the hell are you doing? Get off my team. Get off the staff. This is a Marvin game. You drafted him 4th overall for these kind of moments. Help him, help you. Get him the football. On the flip side, Garrett Williams has been unequivocally their best corner. Put him on Ladd McConkey. Everybody loves slobbering over Ladd this week, who's never had more than, 60 yards in a game. Garrett Williams, the number 1 cover corner in the NFL right now, has been sensational. And again, like, 2 players that they drafted each of the last 2 years, and I'll go the trifecta, Paris Johnson Jr. shutting down either Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack. Like, Charger defensive line, they're not going to be able to get any kind of leverage against big number 70, which should allow Kyler Murray to sit in the pocket and throw darts, run around, do what he does best. But again, as we look ahead to the rest of this season, I'm not looking to free agents, practice squad players, veterans from the Keim regime to save this team. You want to have a youth movement like the Packers did last year, gentlemen, when they were floundering around, and then they kickstarted their current setup of success, and they were the best second half team in the NFL last year. Who was it behind? Their young players. Marvin, Garrett Williams, Paris Johnson Jr. is who I'm leaning on, because frankly, what other choice do we have? Like, I'm not going to sit here and analyze and break down Dennis Gardeck and Zaven. I mean, those guys are established. We know who they are. Give me the guys who are within the first 20 to 25 games of their NFL career that are continuing to find their peak. That's how you're beating great players like Justin Herbert. You're not beating them with guys who've been in the NFL for 10 years. I'm over that. No more. New, please.
Do you think Drew Petzing is going through all the various media outlets this week and just taking notes and, okay, I'm going to incorporate this. I'm going to incorporate. I don't think he is, actually. I think he has some choice things to say about local media, but it's probably not note-taking and crafting his offense around it.
I think JG's given him an earful enough, probably behind closed doors, where he doesn't need to turn on the TV.
All right, let's keep this going.
Let's chalk it up. I'm going with Trey McBride. I know you guys haven't heard that one yet, but I just think he's the best player on this offense, best player on this team. Offense is going to run through him. And then for defensive star, I'm going with Mack Wilson. They're not going to generate any edge pressure with Zaven Collins, Dennis Gardeck against those tackles that the Chargers have. I think it's going to have to be blitz heavy if they're going to want to create any pressure. Mack Wilson, he's probably the number 1 blitzer on this team. From that standpoint, as well as they're just going to run the football a lot. So I just think this linebacker core is pretty important in terms of just filling gaps and making sure that J.K. Dobbins isn't rushing for 5-6 yards a carry. And then X factor, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think his big playability is going to be huge in this game. I was talking to Bo a little bit before we went on live, and I was saying that I think if you can get out and score quickly against the Chargers, that's where you win this football game. I'm not sure that they're a dynamic enough offense to come back from a multi-score deficit. So I like Marvin Harrison Jr. here as X factor. If he can have some big plays early in the game, Cardinals get out to a lead. I think that could spell victory for the Cardinals here.
So 3 out of 4 hosts agree. Trey McBride, big McTrey Day. We're all McBride's bades this weekend. I saw Derwin James' name thrown around in the chat a little bit. People are scared of Derwin James. You shouldn't be in coverage. When targeted in coverage, Derwin James has allowed 15 targets, 13 receptions for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. His strength is run defense. His coverage grade, it's 49. It's not his strength. So, Trey McBride is going to continue, and he's gone up against good safeties, and he's been successful. I mean, McKinney was in coverage last week. He had 5 straight games with an interception. Like, we didn't call McKinney's name out that often. Trey McBride still had a strong game, and Kyler Murray is going to trust this tight end against no matter what safety is matching up against McBride. So that's my little nugget there, Johnny.
I like it.
Yeah.
You like final score predictions? We got those right around the corner here on a Football Friday with your friends at PHNX Cardinals. I mentioned this throughout the show. Gentlemen, folks at home, by the way, like this video. The like line movement. Check out our friends at Bet365. The opening line for the Cards and Chargers initially was a pick'em. And then after last week's debacle in Green Bay, Chargers came out to a 2.5-point favorite. Cardinals were a dog. They remain a dog, but the line has since fluctuated between 1.5 to 2. A lot of money on the Cardinals as a dog, but can you bet the money line? Can you win big? Do it with our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Right now, new customers, after depositing $10 in their new account, do the bet and get offer. After a $5 bet, you're going to get back 200 bonus bets instantly, no matter the outing, or do the first bet safety net. Say you want to place a big line on the Cards, a big wager, but you're a little scared. You're scared, boys and girls out there. Well, you can bet up to $1,000. If your qualifying bet loses, you're going to get it matched in bonus bets. But you got to do it with Bet365, one of our fave new partners, and you got to do it with the boys and girls of PHNX Sports. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why. Never for a moment it's ordinary at Bet365. Got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more information.
Cardinals are making a first impression. They're reintroducing themselves to a national audience on Monday Night Football, and first impressions are always important. Of course, you want to make a lasting impression. How about in the bedroom? You want to perform at your best, don't you?
Oh boy.
Cardinals need to perform in their best on Monday night. Maybe they need a little blue chew for their offense. Well,
Sure.
Does it work? Do you need it? That's all things that you can be answered in just a free month trial with our friends over at Blue Chew. You're going to love it. Your partner's going to love it even more. Check it out right now. And very likely you're missing out on the best sex of your life. Check it out. Have that impression last even longer with Blue Chew. Men everywhere are excited to see what's going on when their package arrives. They're ready to dive right in and get right to work and enjoy all the perks that Blue Chew has to offer. We have a special deal for our listeners, our viewers out there. Try Blue Chew for free when you use the promo code ALLCITY. Checkout. Just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code ALLCITY, and receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for all the details, important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring PHNX Cardinals. Craig, I'm sorry I didn't put it in song form like your other co-host, Petey, would have, but we are pumped that Blue Chew is a part of the PHNX All-City family.
Yeah, you're going to have to step up the game on that one. I expect a guitar in hand the next time you read. You know what jumped out at me before we move on to our game predictions? I looked at Damon's predictions. I looked at mine. I looked at Bo's. We all got, big pieces of the offense, major established pieces of the offense, looking for a win. Johnny's going with a youth movement. You know what a youth movement signals to me? It signals that you're thinking about the future. And you're thinking maybe you're still in something called, what is it, Damon?
Oh, my God. My eyes are burning.
I'm going to get the audio for you next time. You guys remember Erin Slindy? She used to work for us. She recorded. We had a button. We had a rebuild reminder button that we would play basically every game. But yeah.
The Coyotes crew.
We might need that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. You had the best graphic of all time. Leah showed it to Bo and I last year. And it was Stranger Things themed. It was the upside down, where it's like a loss is kind of a win because you're rebuilding. Yep. And it was cool as hell. But I'm sorry, like I can't. We've missed the deadline for these graphics. Respectfully, like I need a new graphic. It's just gonna say win now, or you're fired. All right, let's get to some predictions. But I love it nonetheless. We love. Man, it makes me happy to see that graphic. It makes me sad at the same time. Speaking of sad times for sad boys, let's look at the Cardinals graphic here. Win-loss prediction time. Johnny, Bo, Craig, and Damon. Who do we like? Well, if you like fading me, not a good week for this show. Bo, it's not looking good on the prediction front. Bo, I'm going to start with you. That's the grossest prediction I have seen thus far this
I don't
year.
want to watch that game.
Well, what have we discussed all day long, right? I mean, this is what the Chargers want it to be. They want it to be gross, just hard-nosed football, a lot of defense being played, air being taken out of the ball in the run game, just 17-16 grinded out. And I've reached the point now after getting bitten by the Cardinals by predicting them to win that I can't confidently do that week in and week out. So until they prove me wrong, I'm going to pick with the opposing team, and it starts this week with the Chargers. I think that they get this done on Monday night. I'd love for the Cardinals to prove me wrong, but until that happens, I'm picking the Chargers, the Bolts in their baby blues.
Who's up?
Well, I think everybody who's on the loser train should talk first. Craig, you're up next,
All right.
my friend.
I'll go. I was pretty surprised to see my prediction of a low-scoring game won out by Bo and Damon, but I do think points will be at a premium in this game. We've already talked about how stout LA's defense is, but they haven't scored a lot of points. Keep this in mind, by the way. The Chargers have scored a combined 3 points in the second halves of the past 3 games, and they're averaging a league low 5 points per game in the second half. So if the Cardinals have a lead at the half, you might want to feel good about that. I don't like the way they
scored in the fourth quarter.
Huh?
I don't think they've even scored in the fourth quarter.
They've been utterly just brutal in the second half. Part of that might be, in some games maybe they're sitting on it. I don't. They just, I was talking to you talked about outside the nest and how they've closed out games well. I'm not so sure if you're not scoring in the second half. If you're closing out games, you probably want to punctuate that a little better. But I don't like the way the Cardinals match up against this physical football team. The reality of a 2-5 start is a really tough one, but I think injuries have eliminated whatever slim depth the Cardinals had. I think the rebuild moves into year 3 under Monty Austinfort, who, again, may someday enlighten us as to his rebuild philosophy.
We'll keep it going here. I'm keeping it low scoring because I just think this game plays into the Chargers' hands, how they want to play it. I haven't liked what I saw from the Cardinals offense the last couple of weeks, and this is kind of par for the course when it comes to that. So I think the Chargers win in a 3-point game here. They don't score a lot, but they, like we've talked about, they keep the opposing team's offense in front of them, and they limit the big plays, and they'll just continue to run the football. So I'm going 21-18 Chargers here.
I'd like to be taken onto the screen to speak my piece here. And I would love to believe, not a one shot. Bring everybody back in here.
Do we have piano music? Come on.
I'm speaking directly into the camera, and I'm speaking not only to the 600 people watching live on a Football Friday. By the way, we appreciate you all. Like this video. Drop us a like. Leave a comment down below. I'm speaking to Monty Austinfort and Jonathan Gannon. This is a very much a first and last impression for you with Arizona Cardinal fans, this media market, and the national audience. You can become irrelevant very fast if you lose this game. And I think you're going to have a lot more questions than answers. I don't care what the rest of the schedule looks like the rest of this year. You drop a nationally televised game in an embarrassing fashion, you are going to lose an immense amount of trust from this community. You already got railroaded by Cliff Kingsbury. You have had 2 blowouts in the past 3 games, and you did not show the sense of urgency where, unfortunately, a lot of us saw some of these robust outcomes coming. But you have an opportunity here on Monday Night Football to say, you know what, we don't care about the state of the roster. We're not here to make excuses. We're going to make enough plays. We're going to motivate our team to come out and put on, most importantly, a good showing for our fans, because the Charger fans do not travel well. A lot of Cardinal fans have had this game circled throughout the course of the offseason. It's immense prideful to have a nationally televised game, albeit on ESPN+. Go out there and win this game for the people of Arizona and your fan base beyond just this state. Because I do feel like, Craig, I know you've alluded to it on the show, I feel like if you lose this game, it's going to be very difficult to rebuild trust with this fan base. And I hate that. I host a daily show with my co-host here, Bo Brack, and we talk Cardinals every day, almost 365 days a year. But like, I'm not going to tell people, hey, this is exactly where they need to be. I know there's a lot of that going around right now. You can't sell 2-5 to people as a realistic option in year 2. You just can't. So they need to win this game. Like I hope they feel the sense of urgency, because it's real to all of us.
I'm going to defend you on that side of the ball, actually. I do think that there's going to be a sense of urgency, and I think that's going to help them maybe produce a little more on offense than you might expect against this really good defense, which I think the Steelers are the only team that's reached 20 points against the Chargers this season.
Yeah,
I do think we'll see it there. I don't have enough faith that the defense can get enough done with what we've seen already this season, but then with the losses that they've suffered, I just don't see it happening. It's tough to say. I mean, I do think this is going to be a close game. I think the Cardinals will play their hearts out in this one. I do think we'll see urgency. I just don't have a lot of faith that they can come out on the winning end.
There are a lot of ascending players on this roster. There are a lot of guys that we like throughout the draft process that this team should be excited about, and you want them to be on full display on Monday night, and people not look at this game and like, well, where are the building blocks for this Cardinals rebuild? Like, they need to be showcased, and it starts with Marvin Harrison Jr. And if you can get him going on prime time, and I love throwing out the disclaimer like ESPN Plus. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is your opportunity. This is the cards that you've been dealt, and this is because of the irrelevancy, dating back to 2022, actually being on a primetime stage and embarrassing yourself. Actually, another international incident, Mexico City. It was unfortunate. The NFL was rightly to take and strip you of that last season, and this is your chance to get back in. This is you putting your foot in the door, and now you can kick it in a little bit with a good performance, and maybe be on the actual primetime schedule next year. And that it just goes to Johnny's point, and Craig echoed that. I mean, it's time for this team and this offense to show up and put up points, even though, the statistics prove that the Chargers have a really good defense and the Cardinals offense isn't playing well. You have to buck those trends come Monday night, because otherwise you are what your record is. And it's another year where this is a Chicago sports fan. Like, what is it? Next year, right? It's next year's the year.
It depends. If you're a Cubs fan, it's next century. Go ahead, Johnny.
They have a championship. Longest drought in professional sports without a championship. Look no further than this team. This franchise. Right, this franchise. Maddox, $2 super chat. Cards have the third most cap space next year. And guess what, Maddox? They can't spend it all in a single off season. So shame on them for not spending more this off season. I don't care if they have $1 billion. You can't spend it all in the off season. I get it. You want to separate it out, and I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling into the void. And it bothers me because they don't have enough good players to extend, save for Trey McBride. And I've seen the free agents. They're fine, but they're free agents they should have signed last offseason. So shame on them. Z Warlock, 505, $5 super chat. How about this? Keep up the good work, fellas. We will do our very best. Shameless plug, but a plug nonetheless. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com because, well, we believe that the content is worth it. Led by our phenomenal beat reporter, Craig Morgan. Check out his articles. Go PHNX.com. When you sign up to become a diehard, you get a free piece of merch. Get that right now. Shop the number 18 collection. And how about this? A cherry on top. Get that merch. Fly out to South Beach and hang with the four of us plus Britt and Golden at the PHNX Cardinals tailgate ahead of Cards at Dolphins. Listen, the Cards, they lose this game, they're going to be in the stinker, but we're going to be there having a great time nonetheless. Tailgate on 10/27/24. Win or lose, we're going to be out there. We're going to be having a banner time, the biggest, baddest tailgate of the year. It's a PHNX Cardinals road trip. The packages have all been locked from True Fan Travel. We're fired up for those that are coming with us. But if you're thinking about still coming, you want to book your own accommodations, come out. If you live in the Miami area, come out. We've got a plethora of options on game day morning that include all you can eat, all you can drink, great vibes. Damon and I believe Britt and Golden are going to be in the stands while Craig and Bo are going to be, frou-frouing it up in the press box. But we're going to be seeing them all throughout the weekend. Come out with our friends at True Fan Travel. We want to see you in South Beach with your favorite boys of the Cardinal Beat.
Oh, man, absolutely. Make sure also while you're on GoPHNX.com, you're checking out Craig's game preview tomorrow, right, Craig? Is that when it's dropping? It's going to be Cards Chargers.
I'm going to drop it on Sunday, actually, since it's a Monday night game. But because it's a primetime game, and I know there are primetime games all over the NFL now. There's Sunday night football. There's Thursday night football. If the NFL has its way, eventually we'll have a game every night of the week. And some of the luster will be off Monday night football. Some of it arguably is already. But I'm going to do a little bit of a retrospective on the Cardinals Monday Night Football history. It's an interesting history. I'm sure you guys can think of specific incidents or audio clips, video clips. Yeah, viral stuff. Right. We're going to look at all that. And as someone noted to me, one of the many people I interviewed for this story, if you look at the Cardinals Monday Night history, it really tells the tale of this franchise. So that will be my preview on Sunday.
Does it involve somebody asking why they were smiling?
Yeah, that might enter it.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say this. I tracked down Deuce Latui just to find out what was actually said in that moment, Deuce. So look where that
him and Derek Anderson were just chopping it up on the sideline.
He wasn't
laughing away.
He wasn't laughing.
Right. He takes this as seriously.
He does. Yes, he does.
How about this trivia? How you guys want some trivia? PR Max will pose this to the group here. $2 trivia time. What was the Cardinals' last Monday Night Football win?
Last Monday night, Dallas
with Kyler and Christian
I just
Kirk?
Looked at this. So go ahead. Yeah.
Is it the pandemic year in 2020 or 2020? Yeah, 2020 when they beat Dallas, or did they win a meaningless Monday Night Football game with Colt McCoy the year Kyler went down?
I don't.
Craig, give us the answer.
Oh no, you guys go ahead. Go ahead. I want the group to answer this.
I think it was Dallas Monday Night Football. Andy Dalton started for that game. Budda Baker's first pick.
Okay, I'll agree. And Kyler had a bomb to Christian Kirk, and they blew out the Cowboys.
Kyler completed 9 passes that game.
He was nervous to start that game. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm looking at their history. Here's another weird thing about the Cardinals Monday Night history since they've been in Arizona. They've only played 2 road games in that entire stretch. I don't know if that's just the NFL wants them at home. They're trying to throw them a bone in the.
Well, they lost in Mexico City against the Niners. That was the
time the Cardinals don't take that bone.
Yeah, Kyler's injury was the last one. The Patriots, they lost Monday Night Football. Yeah. Then they played it in Mexico City. They lost that one.
It's got to be the COVID year.
21, they had to have had a Monday night. Well, they lost in the playoffs on Monday Night Football. During that season, did they have a Monday Night Football game?
Yeah, but they lost it.
Was that against? Yeah. Go ahead, Craig. Give us the answer.
Oh, I'm looking back at my history now. I want to make sure that I have this all listed correctly here. But I don't have them winning a Monday night game since. Is this right? 2016? Is that right?
No,
that's not right.
Here, I've got it here.
Okay, my bad. On Monday, October 19th, the game we were talking about. But let's see if they had one in 21. So in 21, this is great podcasting.
Yeah, right. Why did we start this?
They lost to the Rams.
The Rams
on Monday night. They could have clinched, I think, the division that game. That was when they went on. They backed in the playoffs. They lost. It was not a good performance from Kyler. Had a huge day though, 383 in the air, but they lost 30-23.
So last one was Dallas, 2020. Yeah, 38-10. Yep. Okay.
Bummer. We need to break that trend. So we got content coming out this weekend. No live shows back on a Monday. So we've got interviews. We got content dropping. Check out Craig's work at gophnx.com. We got some Southwest Bias stuff dropping this weekend on the podcast feed. So we got you set up, and enjoy a PHNX Cardinals list football Sunday for just one week. And then we're back on Monday, man, live with your definitive PHNX Cardinals pregame show. Bo and Craig are going to join us from the stadium. Me, Britt, and Damon, we're going to hold it down from the studio. We're going to have a halftime show and a postgame show. And I feel like emotions, gentlemen, are going to be running high Monday night. You get a primetime game. You get a fan base that works all day. They want to watch their team play well. And we are going to be ready for it all. It's your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast and your coverage game day on Monday Night Football, Bo.
Yeah, people are going to be furious once they realize they need ESPN Plus to watch this when they plop down and it's not on actual ESPN or ESPN2. But we're here for you because, as Johnny mentioned, we got you covered throughout the weekend, including Craig's game preview on Sunday. Go PHNX.com. We've got interviews dropping. We've got the predictions going up Monday. We'll have content all Monday long. Make sure you're following at PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Craig S. Morgan, Johnny Venerable, Damon Dawg. You all have a great weekend. We got a Halloween party to get to. We'll have Sights and Sounds recap for that as well. Don't want to miss out on it. Of course, you'll get insight in the exclusive member Discord, but you got to be a diehard for that. So sign up, go PHNX.com. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.